morning's UUCD forums. And specifically what we're going to talk about today is the quarterly board update. So join Treasurer Alisa DeRider and other UUCD members of the Board of Trustees for an update on the budget and other work that the board has been up to. We're going to start with a presentation and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So to begin with, Alisa will share her screen. And in the meantime, you can also start putting anything that you'd like in the chat. And at the Q&A period, you can also raise your hand and you'll be able to unmute. So I'll stop talking and pass it to you, Lisa, and thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Brett. I'm going to self-report that I don't feel good, so I'm not bringing my A game today. I hope it's not you know what, but I'll take a test later. We'll find out. So we're going to start with our operating budget, of course. Yay. There's no big news, I'm sorry, there really isn't. Everything is fine. So the sheet that you're seeing, I've got a couple of columns and we can narrow down the columns and then open them back up. But these two are our budgets last year and this year. So that's always interesting to, I think, to look at, but let's just shrink those suckers down for now. And we can come back to them if we want to. So this is this quarter, it's end of July, or beginning of July to end of December. It's our, and it's 2 quarters, I'm sorry. And this other column then is our 2 quarters mark last year. So you can kind of see how we're doing year over year. And then this column, I think you're familiar with, is compared to budget. And we should be at 50% now because we're halfway through the year. And for the most part, we are, which is excellent. It's nice seeing some of these, like our pledges are coming in normally. Kathy made mention that, as usual, many people made their donation, their pledges by the end of the year to get it into December 2021. So that came right back up. Open plate, of course, we never know what to budget, so that's just a crapshoot. So it looks like, I think because we're seeing each other more in person now, that this is going to start to increase again. Miscellaneous income, nothing remarkable there. Our book sales brought in $1,643, which was nice. That's pretty decent. So I think this is up on the higher end. But then I think we also have a lot of our special events like this time. And I don't know if we necessarily have as many in the spring, except, our rummage sale. Surplus carryover is coming in at 50%. Kathy books it every quarter to put in 1/4 of it. Miscellaneous income is nothing. So we're overall, you can see our total income is tracking quite well for being at our halfway mark. Anything I wanted to say about income? No, not really. So now we're on to expenses, and our staff is right where it should be. And administrative expenses a little high. I think this is where our that went down into media. Yeah, okay. We have a new copier lease that was unbudgeted. The cost of running the copier is the same, but the lease is different. It shouldn't really be making that much of an influence at this point, but things are just what they are. And Kathy has a very good handle on, Kathy Stinnett, I should say, our congregational administrator, has a very good handle on keeping an eye on those. Our utilities end up being higher than we thought. We had a leak somewhere, bathroom somewhere, that got fixed, so that was a little waste. And then also we've, I kind of wrote, just because of climate change in general, we had the hottest summer on record and all this kind of stuff, so that's a little bit higher. Building maintenance is pretty good, even though we had to have what did we do recently? Well, so we fixed the stove, but that went into we have a kitchen fund restricted bucket that we use for that, and which still has money. We discovered that we may not need, we don't need to, like as an absolutely have to replace the stove right now. Where Koresh was able to find some people who could do some repairs. We could consider it if we need that, and if our kitchen committees think that that's something we want to pursue. But of course, we would do some fundraising. Yeah, I don't see anything else about that. Which again, if you get down to our fixed expenses, then they're still tracking 50% with some ups and downs. The one thing of particular note is this category now has the word, it's our media, so it's our membership outreach, and it contains a new field called media. So we had to spend, a chunk of change to keep our upgrade our soundboard and get them monitors and the microphones and the computers that our technology team recommended that we really needed to upgrade, considering we're in year 2 of online services. And I think that was an excellent investment, but then it throws our budget off. But then again, you can see we're still tracking at 50%. So we haven't had, I think the one thing that we're missing right now is we haven't had our snowplow bills come in yet as of the end of December. So that'll be coming soon, because we all know we got plowable snow. And that is where we are for how we're doing. Not much going on. It's tracking well. We're doing fine. This is our capital fund. There's our building, and we still have about 80,000 of member loans on the books. And so we want to make sure we keep that in mind. They're on a 5-year note, which I believe is up in 23, 24. I can't remember. So we still have a couple of years. I really like seeing this nice big asset and a really small liability there. That just looks really good. It'd be nice eventually if we could get this down to nothing and be debt free. We're working on it though, I think. And then the restricted funds, I think, is where the more exciting stuff is happening. So our operations, we continue to increase it. In fact, it's actually more exciting if I'm going to expand the columns here. So these gray parts are year end for the past 5 years. And I think it's good stewardship on our part. We have been building our operations restricted budget. So this is where the building reserve comes, and this is where that stove is sitting, and some other things. I think we had a surplus. We did some fundraising around covering staff healthcare increases that we haven't used completely, and that we will be using up since we didn't need it in the emergency fashion that we thought we did. So that's still sitting here. Also very exciting, look at this endowment fund. We are now at the $100,000 mark. This means, and I think we talked about this at the annual meeting, but this means that we changed the makeup of the endowment committee. I think we add 2 more people, and we are allowed, but are not required to, start using some of those funds. So we can.
Lisa?
Yeah.
For people who notice this kind of business reporting, investments are really down this week, and we're quite below 100,000 now.
Oh, dang it.
Like 98. So I don't know what people are going to project, but about whether it will come back or whether this is going to be a down year for investments.
Yeah. Well, shucks, we were so excited. Thanks, Giger.
Well, I did that just for us, so I
Yes.
could know what
Well,
was happening and share it.
Always
Not
good
happy,
information.
but it's what it is.
Yeah.
And
So,
really
in the
important
meantime-
for people to understand that investments are volatile. They move a lot or a little. And in 2021, they were steadily up.
Mhm.
Who knows for 22?
Yep, yep.
I'll
Good
hush.
point. Well, I guess in the meantime, we will just be thinking about adding more people to the endowment committee and thinking about what we might do with excess if we ever get there again. But good, that's good to let us all know, Giger. That means Korkendorfer is increased too, but probably isn't going to be at 2,400 by the time we get this next quarterly report. But that also, if you can see, it also is tracking upward in general. A big
It's
chunk
back-
of that. Yeah,
It's back down to where it was a quarter ago, about 22,000.
okay. But the big change is that a while ago, the finance committee took that fund, the Korkendorfer fund, out of just a plain savings account and threw it in an investment account like we do with our endowment, which is why it's going to fluctuate more now. But it also increased quite a bit from the point of when we did that. So that's the end of the report. The only other exciting thing is there are new floors in the nursery wing. We needed to upgrade for some of their nursery school, childcare school requirements, which we shared costs with, and David Broadwell did quite a nice job at helping coordinate and install the floors. I just saw a comment here from Beth. Is most, if not all, of the increased and restricted funds from investment income or increased contributions? The restricted funds, the operations restricted funds, is no investments at all. That is just sitting in our bank account for things like we did a little fundraiser to put some money in there for a stove. So there's about 2,400 in there for a stove, and there's our building reserve, which I believe is at about 30,000 right now. So none of that is investment. It's just increased contributions. So I hope that answers your question, Beth. And then we
Actually, no, I mean, what I'm wondering is like an endowment, did it grow because some people put more, made more donations to the endowment fund, or is it all just because the market was hotter than it has
no,
been?
nope, it was both. You're right. Endowment fund had significant contributions at the end of the year last year, and we've been growing. Good question. So from Therese Presley, she says, so would we wait until endowment is 105 before we change the committee? Or maybe, Therese, or maybe wait until we are consistently over 100,000 for a certain period of time. I think that might be what we want to see. Well, and of course, we're not necessarily going to be spending the 500,000 if we just make 105,000. I would hope that our committee steers towards larger projects with it, or some sort of campaign or endeavor. So we'll see, Therese. We'll have to wait and see and have the Finance Council and the board just watch it. Kathy Helser also said Warren turned 100 and some folks made endowment donations in his name. Yep, that was part of the contributions we took in 2021, and then some others.
Alisa, in the income statement, the first thing you had on the screen, if you had, in addition to operations, if you had the endowment fund and the capital fund, it would show exactly the new amounts. I am so sorry I can't rattle that number off.
So you want, all right, let me switch back then to that other report. Operating budget share. So what is it you think we should look at, Keeger? Say it again.
Well, in the layout, the top is the operations, and then comes capital and endowment. So you would see the income, the revenue for the endowment further down that screen,
Do you
that
mean
spreadsheet.
on the balance sheet though?
No, the spreadsheet for income.
Well, so I have a really messy spreadsheet.
Well, okay,
here.
let's let it go. Next time you do a report, we will remember to report how much new donations there were. I can tell you at the end of December, we sent a check for 5,900. But at the end of June, we sent, that had Warren's gifts, the many gifts that were received honoring Warren High.
Okay, good to know. Yep, let's put it on the list. New donations to the endowment fund versus capital gain, I guess you would call it.
So for the 6 months you're reporting, it was 5,900 and a little bit.
Yeah. Good conversations.